Recently, whenever I've been posting things on my Instagram of results that we've been getting for our clients, or just kind of showing some of the back end of ad accounts or things like that, a lot of people ask me through my Instagram, like on my DMs and stuff, like, what is the strategy? Like, what strategy do you use? And there was someone asking if we were like selling the strategy and stuff. And so I'm just going to give you the exact strategy that has helped us generate well over $40 million profitably in online sales for Shopify stores over the past few years, and just basically break down A to Z exactly how it works. Everything from the financial side to the like KPIs, to the understanding your customer avatar, to like the ad account, to the website conversion rate, to retention, and everything that is basically required to scale an e-commerce brand profitably over the course of a number of years. We're not just looking for like 0 to 100K in 1 month, because that's pretty unrealistic. Like, unless you are like 0.01% of brands, that's just not going to be doable for you in terms of like fulfillment and budgeting, and it's just not going to work. So how do you actually like legitimately, like realistically scale an e-commerce brand? Using paid ads, of course, as the main driver. That's what we're going to dive in today. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Lewin. I've profitably generated over $40 million in online sales for Shopify stores. I'm not saying that to brag or gloat or anything. It's just purely to kind of add weight, or to show you that I'm somewhat qualified to speak about these topics. So I just want to get into the first thing, which is the financial side of things. Like, as a brand, you really, really need to understand your finances. And you would be surprised how many brands we've spoken to on sales calls and discovery calls, and people that have come to us asking for help. When we ask them, what is your break-even ROAS? Like, in terms of your profit margins, like, what ROAS do you need just to break even? Say, I don't know. How do you work that out? So you really need to get a real grasp of certain KPIs. You need to understand ad platform CPAs, like what the average is and what yours is on average over a long period of time. Understand exactly what your profit margins are on each product. Typically 80% of your revenue will come from 20% of your products. So on that 20%, on those like top hero products, what are your profit margins? Like, how much does it cost out of the total product price to actually get that product from you to a customer? Really, really understand that. That's super, super important. Understand what your returning customer rate is. Understand what your conversion rate is of the website as well. Because ultimately, when you're understanding all of these metrics, you've got them laid out in a sheet. You can look at them, you can visualize them, and you can go, right, and this is essentially the numbers of my entire business. You can then turn scaling into a numbers game, rather than just kind of like a hit and hope, or rather than like gambling, or rather than, kind of like just hoping for the best, or, handing things over to your media buyer and just say, like, get me the best results you can, and hopefully it works out. Like, you want to go in there with KPIs and targets and say, look, this is the CPA that we need in order to break even. We want to aim for an additional, 100% on top of that as like our main goal in terms of what profit we want to get on like a first time new customer acquisition cost. And you want to then essentially have targets and have KPIs, and you want to go in with clear intentions, and you can then start to forecast and look at the rest of the year and say, look, if we are acquiring new customers at this rate, we have a returning customer rate of this, it means we're going to have this much profit on each first time purchase. They're going to come back this month, this month, this month, this month. It means that then we're going to generate X amount of profit on the next purchase. And you can forecast and plan out the next 12 months, like very, very, very specifically, and you can understand exactly how much budget you need to put into these paid ad platforms in order to generate X amount back, and to be able to scale with clarity and with confidence. And I think that's something that a lot of brands lack in this industry. Is it is literally as simple as getting all of your metrics into a spreadsheet. Which I know that sounds like super simple, but you would be surprised how many people don't quite understand that. So that's obviously on the like business side of things. But in terms of like ad KPIs, like ad account KPIs, like you want to be looking at, does your ad account fall within the average metrics? And if it does, how can you get it into above average metrics. Obviously, average metrics are like 0.8% click-through rate, thumbs up rate would be like 25%, hold rate would be like 8%. And so if you're sort of not kind of like falling within that, or you're not, if you're below that, then there's a couple of things that you want to address in order to get there, which we want to walk through in the next one, which is how to understand exactly who your customer is. Now, understanding your customer has got to be one of the most important parts of the whole puzzle, because if you don't understand who you're actually speaking to, how can you speak to them? A really, really good example of this is recently Dr. Squatch. They got acquired by Unilever for like, I think it was like $2 billion. You can fact check me on that, like don't quote me, but I know it's an astronomical amount. And they recently launched a campaign with Sydney Sweeney that was very controversial, right? Women hated it. People said that, feminist, it sent feminists 100 years back, and there's people that completely missed the satire side of it completely, and people got outraged, but it sold like crazy. It went viral, and it was extremely effective because they don't care if women don't buy their products, because it's not aimed at women, right? They know that Sydney Sweeney is a thirst trap. They know that everybody obsesses over her, and so they were like, right, how can we take this at like comedic value, and how can we turn it into a meme, and how can we capitalize on that and make a boatload of money from it? And so they released a product that was Sydney's like soap, and it was like infused with her bathwater that she was sitting in on a campaign shoot for the previous time that they launched that, which is like so weird and crazy. And they did like 500 pieces of it. Obviously, it sold out within a second. It made a boatload of money. But the main thing was the amount of noise that it made, and it spoke to their target demographic, which is obviously men. So if you really understand who your customer is, you can speak to them and you can create much, much more effective marketing. So you want to understand like their age, obviously gender, location, like where is your strongest location? What are the like pain points, interests, desires, trends, and sort of the keywords and phrases around that demographic. Keywords and phrases is like very important, which I think a lot of people overlook on that side of things, because certain keywords is how Meta actually uses your ad to find the right person. So like in a script of a video of somebody speaking, or in the copy, in the caption, there are certain words that will help drive the targeting for Meta. So you want to make sure that whatever people are whatever kind of people would search to find your product or to find your brand or industry, those are kind of embedded within your script, and the keywords for pain points and stuff are embedded within your copy and your captions and your script, and you want to make sure that they're there, and then obviously everything else can be curated around that. So that's obviously like just a super basic but super important side of making sure that you're actually talking to the right person. And so next, you want to make sure that can you actually hijack the attention of that person, right? So like, can you actually, when you put your ad in front of them, are they gonna stop scrolling, for starters? Because you're competing with loads of different things on social media. You're competing with like the latest political thing of like, oh, World War III, blah blah blah, or Jake Paul, or Donald Trump, or KSI, or whoever it might be, right? Whatever influencer, Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, whatever it is, like you're going to be competing with them for people's attention, as well as your competitors of people actually selling products, right? So you want to make sure that your content is ad platform native. So just go onto your reels, right? Go onto reels on Instagram, scroll down them for like 10 minutes and just find what kind of content is hooking your attention, right? And see what kind of content is being posted organically on that platform. That's going to give you so many ideas about how you can then format your product into that style, because ultimately the ads, there was a study that was recently done, but I can't remember the exact percentage, but basically like ads that don't look like ads on the reels placement, convert way better and have a much higher attention rate than any other type of ad, right? A lot of them are just kind of like selfie videos or POVs, or they're not like high production stuff, which is obviously good for you because you don't want to, if you're trying to scale an ad account, when you're doing high production stuff, the turnover can be quite long, it can be quite high, and obviously it just takes time to be able to, pivot and iterate and make improvements. Whereas things that are low budget, that are like POV shots of like people reaching for the cupboard to pull out their product and showing it and talking about it, like that's so easy to do. Like you can bang out like 5 to 10 of those in a day, based on iterations or based on what the data is showing you. So really important to make sure that your content is it is like platform native. And then obviously once you've hooked their attention, you've got the click, then they're going through onto your website, right? So they're actually there on your website, you've got their attention, they're clearly interested. And now something that I think a lot of people really overlook is making sure that the full sort of scale of their marketing is also present over on their product page and their website. I think a lot of people's websites tend to be just kind of basic specifications and just a few benefits and features, rather than like, when on your marketing, you're going into comparisons, you're breaking down the pricing, and you're getting like very granular on certain pain points. And so you need to do that on the website as well, because someone might have piqued a bit of curiosity from one ad or two ads maybe, or maybe they saw one 6 months ago, they kind of got into the funnel, they got hit with it again 4 months later, and they're kind of interested. They're on the website, but they haven't seen you've maybe got like 30 to 50 ads running in your ad account. They've seen like one or two. You need to make sure that when they go onto that product page, they're essentially seeing the full funnel. They're seeing like all of those 30 to 50 ads through like product page content, essentially like product page sections of like FAQs, reviews, like all the features and benefits for all the different pain points and desires, like all the different angles that you can possibly think of that is a good reason for somebody to purchase your products. Like someone might have just come through from Google, and so if they like just click a search ad, come through to your website, and they don't see like all of the marketing angles, they just see some basic specifications, there's nothing really convincing them to purchase, versus all of your competitors who have gone that extra step to make sure that their website is succinct with their marketing efforts. So that's obviously really important. And essentially when people are on the product page as well, and like getting them to convert, that is very good, but you also want to make sure that the first time purchase that they make is the highest AOV that you can possibly get. Whether it's bundling products, making sure that it kind of feels a bit stupid to just buy one. Like the offer is so good to buy two or three that it's just like, why not? Like, why not get more than that, to make sure that AOV is like pushing up as close to like $100 or above as possible. Because again, when people are coming through from the platform, you've paid all that ad spend, you've paid all that cost to get them through to your product page, made all that effort, you've got all those ads and all the costs to come with that, and then for them to just buy something for like $30 or $40, like it's sad. Like it's such a waste. Like and that might hurt your sort of your first time purchase profitability, and it might mean that you really need to go hard and overcompensate on retention and bringing them back in order to be profitable, which it's not bad, but you would definitely want to make sure that your first time purchase is as profitable as possible, so that you can use that revenue and use that capital to then pump more into those first time acquisition costs to obviously grow the customer base. Like things are just going to move faster if that first time purchase AOV is really solid. Because obviously essentially like that makes sure that if people are coming back, you're not like 100% relying on them to come back, which that obviously takes us into the next side of it, which is retention. Okay, so let's just recap. Like you've understood your finances, right? You've understood who your customer is. You've understood how to grab their attention. You've understood how to convert them into a purchaser on your website. Now it's about bringing them back as many times as possible. and it's essentially like, this is, for a lot of brands, this is the lifeblood, and this is essentially the fuel that brings people, that enables brands to be able to scale their ad account. Now, I just want to show you something really quick. So yeah, obviously we work with brands that are like all over the world, international, and at any given point, I don't know if you can hear the like cha-ching, and see if we can get the camera just to kind of focus on that. I don't know if it'll be able to focus, but oh, there we go. But yeah, it's like, at any given time, with the strategies that we use, throughout. Let me just turn this off because it's just nuts. Like, with the strategies that we use, through creating demand, and the psychology of human beings respond to scarcity and social proof, and the conversations that we're having every day with our clients, it leads to a system and essentially a strategy that creates like real solid demand for the products and the brands that we work with, so that once you have a system that is acquiring brand new customers at an efficient rate, you can then implement this on the back end to make sure that customers are coming back every single month, right? Or every single 2 months, or every single 3 months, depending on what your LTV cohorts are like. But essentially, if you have a system where you are acquiring new customers profitably, and you then have a system on the back end that is creating demand and hype, and making people feel scarcity, and having different promotions and different drops and different collections, and a real buzz going on in the back end, this is how you scale an ad account, because then you can use that to keep on pushing into that new customer acquisition system on the paid ad side of things. And this really is how you can start scaling your budget to 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, $30,000 a day in spend, and still maintain profitability, still maintain ROAS, because a lot of people get to a point where they start scaling, and maybe they get to like $500 a day, and essentially they can't really push past maintaining a ROAS, like plateauing a ROAS. Like, the ROAS always tanks and dies after they get to a certain spend, and so they either can't spend more than that, or they just have to like maintain that level. And so if they want to then push to like $1,000 a day, are they actually going to see anything on the back end in terms of an increase in profit by that additional $500 a day in spend? And a lot of the time, no. And it's because of the way that the whole ecosystem is set up. And so making sure that you are, retaining people, and you are bringing them back, and you are creating hype, and you are, making people feel scarcity, and you're bringing new things to them in the right ways, is so, so important. And this is one of the things that we do with our clients. And this is one of the things that we talk about in the conversations that we have with them on calls, about how to go about doing this, and how to go about actually implementing these strategies, which have worked with brands that have had, £500,000 months, £1 million months, like some of the brands that are doing tens of millions of dollars. And, these are the things that we are privy to, and these are the things that we understand very, very well. And that's why brands work with us. And that's why, brands come to us to, to manage their marketing, essentially, and have a really, really solid strategy to make sure that they can grow significantly, and that their ad spend is not being wasted, and their ad spend is not just making Zuckerberg richer, it's actually making themselves richer. So if you want to step up your marketing, if you want to make sure that there are some real killers in your team, just click the link in the description and book a call with me, and we can discuss whether we'd be a good fit, and if we can essentially step up your marketing. If you are an entrepreneur and you want to network with other entrepreneurs, but you're just kind of like sick of all of the fake formal LinkedIn chat of like, congrats on your new role, and like, ring the bell, just signed the new client, and like all of the, the fake sort of show-offy kind of things that are in this space, and you want to network with like real people that aren't too cool to take their sunglasses off inside, or, people that, essentially don't view a Lamborghini as a measure of success, then we've got a community. It's very, very small. We don't really allow a lot of people in there. But if you want to apply and see if you'll be let in, it's called Off Record. It's very much for the types of conversations and the types of things in business that you don't get in these kind of like fake formal business environments. It can be things that are a little bit less known, a little bit less surface point, like not necessarily surface level chat. So if you are interested in that, there's also a link to that in the description to my Instagram, and just drop me a DM saying that you're wanting to join, and I will pick up a chat with you there. But if you did find value from this video, just drop a comment, let me know, drop a like, it helps out, drop a sub, and I will catch you in the next one.